right, welcome everyone. Okay, so today I wanted to create a class for those of you that have been working from home, probably not in ergonomic desks or chairs or anything. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of shoulder openers, and yeah, we're gonna do some shoulder openers, and we're also going to do some chest openers, just some mobility for the head and neck. So I'm gonna use a yoga strap. You can use a towel, just any long piece of fabric. About that you can take it out, just maybe not fully shoulder. That if you can't find something that long, that's okay. But something that's wider than shoulder width distance. Okay, so welcome. Yeah, hi Cherokee. Let's get started. You'll also want to use pillows. So we're gonna start in supported fish. I also have a bolster here, but you can use pillows just stacked up. Honestly, it's kind of like playing with Jenga tower. And what you're looking for is to lift through the heart. Now, if you don't have pillows, another option is to actually just roll up your yoga mat, and you can use that as a block underneath your shoulders. Okay, so a couple of options. And what you're looking for is just to lift right across the chest so that your heart is the highest lifted point on your body, and that there's an opening through the front of the throat. And then the wider you take your hands, or even the more you draw them overhead to a cactus or diamond shape, you're gonna create this opening across the chest. Okay, so we're gonna get started there. Might take you a few minutes just to get that all set up. And then once you've landed in that shape, okay, so you can take the legs out long and wide. You could butterfly the legs if you wanted, or you're always welcome to just keep your knees bent. This one will be a little bit softer for the low back if you find you get some just low back sensitivity in this pose, or you know that you have some low back issues happening. Okay. Hands, the wider out they go or the further back, the more sensation you're gonna receive. So if arms out to a T feels like too much, just feel like you've kind of taken that straight edge of the T shape and turned into more of a TP or a tent shape. Okay, and then just begin to close into your eyes. Let your eyelids rest heavy. Just take a couple of deep, full belly breaths. Start to notice how this sensation feels in your body as you first landed here, and if there's any little shifts that you need to make, just do so now. Become aware of your environment. So especially practicing from home, there's lots and lots of distractions. So there's background noises. There might be other people shuffling around on a completely different wavelength than you. Might be noises from the street outside, other activities happening around. So take a moment to honor that and just become aware so that you don't have to get frustrated with these distractions, but that they're just a reminder of where you are, that you're settled into the safety of your own home, and perhaps allowing that acknowledgement to just give you permission to let this practice be whatever you need it to be today. So it doesn't have to exactly follow my guidelines. You're welcome to always change some things up, to add in, to take out, to adjust. And so when you do get that reminder of what's happening around and within, perhaps instead of finding a reaction to those distractions, that you just simply allow that to remind you of being present, of being here within this moment, distractions and all. And that's a beautiful opportunity to hold both, to acknowledge the distractions, but to stay connected inwards, to still be able to feel and acknowledge your breath while the world moves around you. Now that we've been in this shape for a couple of moments, you might notice if there's more space to walk your shoulders down your back, very soften through the elbows, let your hands rest heavier. We're going to add in just a little bit of movement. Gently begin to extend through your right fingertips as though you're trying to reach something over to the right side. And then you can even press the back of your right hand into the ground so your elbow lifts. And then as you exhale, drop your chin over towards your left shoulder. And you're gonna get this deep sensation through the right side of the neck, shoulder, and even maybe down the length of your right arm. We're gonna take about 3 breaths per side. So just take one more breath like this. And then you can gently begin to lift your chin back up through center, soften into the elbow, might even land on the ground. Begin to lengthen through your left arm. And then once you find that space, you begin to drop your chin over towards your right shoulder. Okay, still soft through the right side. The left side is extended and lengthened. So you can still soften through that left shoulder though. Then allow your gaze to come all the way back up through center. And we'll try the other side. Right arm extends. As you exhale, chin drops over to the left. Find some active opening of the body so that you feel a little bit more effort to draw you into this pose. And then when you come out of it, on your next inhale breath, chin up through center and relax, find the ease. Okay, one more over with the left arm extended, chin drops over to the right. Take 3 full breaths. And then after that third exhale, you'll just gently lift your chin up through center, soften both elbows in. Take a full breath in through your nose. Feel your chest rise up, creating more space in the heart center. And then exhale, drop heavier towards the ground. Okay. Gently begin to bring your arms in. Just take a giant stretch overhead. You can even point into your toes, straightening out the legs if they were bent. As you inhale, you might take a little bit more space. And then as you exhale, soften. Take your arms to opposite shoulders, like you're giving yourself a hug. And then hands can either turn into the body. I personally like to flip the palms out. And then if you feel like your forearms are coming up towards your chin, draw your elbows down towards your belly button, but still allow this to be fairly passive. So you're not pressing the elbows down, you're just allowing the weight of the arms to drop over top of your chest. Feeling the rise and fall of your breath as your arms move in the same rhythm as your rib cage and belly. And then let's just gently find the other side. So begin to unwind that. You reach overhead, take a nice big stretch, and then you'll find the opposite elbow over top. Okay. Taking about 3 to 5 full belly breaths here. Imagine your fingertips are weighted and they're almost dripping down towards the ground. And that allows your elbows to draw further across your body, maybe even stack. Okay, we will need our strap for this next pose. So if you don't have your strap close by, don't rush to get it. Just take your time, untangle your arms. You can just roll to whatever side your strap is on. Okay, and then we're gonna come back. So you might have to reset. Okay, so with your strap, take your arms wider than shoulder width distance. So if they're shoulder width, that's gonna feel like a lot. So take your arms a little bit wider and then allow your strap to rest over top of your thighs, hands down beside your body. On an inhale breath, lift your arms up towards the ceiling and then overhead just as far as is comfortable. And then as you exhale, lift your hands up to the ceiling again. and all the way back down. Okay, let's take that a little bit slower. So inhale, lift all the way up towards the ceiling. And exhale to take your hands back behind you. Keep some tension on the strap so it's a little bit more active. Inhale, lift up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, lower your hands towards your thighs. Okay, we're gonna take 3 more of those. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to lower back behind you. Okay, you can even keep a soft bend into the elbows if you'd like. Inhale, especially here, pull on the straps, so you're strengthening the shoulders, and then exhale to lower, relax. Okay, 2 more. Just begin to find your flow of breath and movement. So this is called flossing, and we're just looking to create some mobility into the shoulders, but it's a little bit more stable. So you're not just using the muscles around the shoulders, just kind of loosey-goosey. They're actually a little bit more active, so they're lengthening but also strengthening. All right, last one. When your hands come all the way back down towards your thighs, you can gently release, take your strap off to the side, bend into your knees and roll yourself over towards your right hand side. Find fetal position, so your head will rest heavy into your bicep, legs are stacked. Just take a couple of deep full belly breaths. Allow your spine to neutralize. Just take this shape as a rest. When you're ready, you'll gently begin to press yourself up. You're gonna knee into a comfortable seat. So you can actually move your pillows off of your mat. We're not gonna need them for a while here. Okay. So you're gonna take, your strap and just begin to create some movement. So similar to the flossing that we were doing, arms out, I like to say about hands to your knees. And then as you inhale, you're gonna lift up and over. So hands are above your shoulders. And then as you exhale, you can begin to drop your left hand towards the ground. So you're creating that lateral flexion on the right side of your body. And then as you inhale, you'll lift back up through center. And then as you exhale, just pouring over to the other side. So we're gonna take this a couple of times, just finding a little bit of opening through the side body. Make sure that you're active. You're actively pulling both ends of the strap. Okay, so you can take that about once or twice more. Awesome. Okay. Then we're gonna add on a little bit with this. Okay, so the next time that you pour over to the left, it's gonna look a whole lot like round you. So you can take a bend to the shoulders. Begin to roll your right armpit down and then reach the strap out in front of you. Tuck your chin into your chest so you have quite a rounded spine here. And then you're gonna open up to the other side. So begin to open up through the left armpit, hands come up through center, and then over to the left again. Round through the spine, so begin to drop your heart towards your left thigh, sweeping all the way through center, and then begin to open up. Okay, coming back through the top, let's pause and take this the other side. So you're gonna drop your right hand over, round through the spine, left armpit towards your right knee, curl and round in, belly button draws to the spine, so core is still active and engaged. Let's take one more circle in this direction. Come all the way back up through center and then gently release out in front of you. You're not going to need the strap, so you can take that off to the side for a moment. And then let's meet into a tabletop and just flesh out the spine with a little bit of movement. Hands stacked underneath your shoulders, hips over top of your knees. As you inhale, drop your belly down, lift your gaze and tailbone up. As you exhale, press into the ground, begin to rise through your shoulders, belly button tucks up towards your spine. Inhale, breath, belly becomes heavy, tailbone lifts, shoulders slide together, and then exhale to curl and round. Feel like you're pushing the earth away. Let's take one more breath just like that. Inhale to expand through the front line of your body, and then exhale to curl and round in. Come all the way back to a neutral spine, tabletop flat back. We're gonna work into a little bit of shoulder strengthening. So you wanna keep that flat back. You're just working to protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. So think about sinking your heart towards the ground. So you're gonna feel your shoulder blades slide together and then push in towards the earth to lift your heart away. So your shoulder blades are gonna slide apart. You're just gonna continue to move, lowering the heart and then lifting it. Make sure your belly button is drawn in towards the spine. Thighs are active. If you wanna make sure that your thighs are active, you could always take a block between your thighs and press into the block with either side. Okay, so your whole body is working really hard to stabilize, and then it's just your shoulder blades moving. Okay, let's take one more round of that movement. And you'll come back through to a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward, landing onto your forearms, elbows and palms down, hips stay above your knees, melting heart. Forehead to the ground. There's a couple of variations of this. You can stay here. I like to work more into the triceps. You can always take your hands together in a prayer and then lift your hands up and overhead so that your thumbs land to the nape of your neck. And then it's the muscle just above your elbow there that's going to be connected to the ground. This pose called melting heart, literally think about melting your heart towards the earth. Especially as you breathe out, you'll feel that deepening or the heaviness of the body as you just drop in. So let's just take one more full belly breath in and long breath out. And then slowly walk your hands back in towards your body, stacking your hands underneath your shoulders. Okay, you can always tuck the toes if you need a little bit more stability. As you inhale, reach your right fingertips all the way up. Lengthen between the hands without touching your shoulder. Thread your right arm underneath your body. Gazes over to the left. Let's do it 2 more times. So inhale, breath. Open up into a twist. Exhale, thread your right shoulder underneath your chest. 1 more time. Inhale, breath. Lift all the way up. And then as you exhale, land this time. Right shoulder, right cheek to the ground. Always optional, you can take a pillow underneath your right cheek if this is a lot for your neck. And then try to walk your right shoulder away from your ear. Optional to walk your left fingertips out and roll your left armpit to the ground to get into the side body, a little bit of the front of the chest. Notice what happens when you completely surrender and just let your body rest heavy. And if your left hand is walked out, walk your left hand back beside your shoulder. As you inhale, reach up again, undo that deep, deep, deep twist, and then come all the way back through center. You can shift side to side, take as much movement as you'd like, and then you're just gonna land in the other side. Right hand stays rooted. Inhale, breath, left fingertips reach up. Exhale, twist, but don't fully land in it yet. We're taking 3 breaths like this. Inhale to open up, lengthen across the chest. Exhale to twist. Let's take 1 more breath just like that. And then this time, land your left shoulder underneath your body, left cheek towards your mat. Right hand can stay planted, or you might walk your right fingertips out. Allow your shoulder blades to separate, and then just allow your body to rest heavy. So it doesn't have to be the most active pose, that there is a little bit of effort in the pose, but allow there to also be ease. Now if your right hand is walked away from the body, just bring it back in, plant into your right hand. Inhale, breath, draw your left fingertips all the way up, and then exhale, release your left hand back down. You take your hands 1 handprint in front of where they are so that your hands are actually in front of your shoulders. Tuck your right toes under. You're opening up to side plank, facing the right side of the room, but modified variation. Slide your right heel back. Turn and pivot so your left toes point to the long edge of the mat. Right foot is planted and right hand reaches all the way up. Okay, taking a full circle, reach your right fingertips all the way back, sweep your right fingertips down, reach your right fingertips forward and up, and then gently release back down to tabletop. Okay, so we're gonna find the other side. Left toe slide back, turn and pivot to the left side of your mat. Reach your fingertips up. Okay, begin to sweep your fingertips down to the back, to the ground, reach to the front, come all the way up towards the ceiling, and then gently release down. Okay, we're gonna take that a little bit quicker, so there's not gonna be that pause and then a circle the arm. The arm's gonna circle as we move. So slide your right toes back. Inhale, breath, sweep your right hand back and up. As you exhale, begin to reach your right fingertips forward as you begin to come back into your tabletop. Inhale, breath, left hand reaches to the back of the room and up. And exhale, draws forward and down. Let's take one more to each side. Inhale, full circle of the arm. Squeeze into your glutes to send your hips forward. Okay, one more time. Inhale, breath, circle through the left arm, and then all the way down. And come all the way back through to tabletop. Walk your knees wide, big toes to touch. Sit your hips back towards your heels, and then drape into your body. Okay. Adding in a little bit of lateral flexion, you're welcome to join in, or you can just stay in traditional child's pose for about 6 breaths. Okay. Walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. Now, a lot of people think you actually go deeper if you take your left hand over top of your right, but I actually find if you want more depth, keep your hands separated so you're not so focused on the right side of the body, but really focusing on lengthening all the way from your left hand to your left hip, making sure that your left hip is rooting down and it's not lifting up to find the length in the arm. Take one more breath on this side. And then you'll gently walk all the way back through center and find the other side. So focus on the opening of the right side body. You can take your forehead or cheek to the ground. Rooting through your right palm, slide your right shoulder away from your ear. So it's almost like your body's being tractioned in 2 different directions. And then walk your hands all the way back through to center. Curl and round up into a cat shape. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Walk your knees in. Contract into the front line of the body. And then exhale to come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes under. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. I don't know why I'm even wearing this. This is basically a bib right now. All right. Downward facing dog. On your next inhale breath, look forward, come up high into the balls of your feet, and then tippy toe your way to the top of your mat to land in a forward fold. Walk your feet out at least hip width distance, if not more, and then take such a deep bend in your knees that your belly and thighs almost come towards one another to touch. Optional to use a block or prop for that added lift. Left hand plants into the center of your mat. As you inhale, straighten out your right leg. Right hand can come to your low back or all the way up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, bend into both knees. Right hand replaces left. Inhale, breath. Lengthen through the spine like you're in a halfway lift, but with the twist. Left leg straight, right knee bent. Exhale, come all the way back down. Let's just take one more to each side so we find this rhythm. Inhale to twist to the right. Bend deeply into that left knee, and then exhale to fold. One more time, inhale, breath, twist open to the left, and exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, halfway lift, hands can press into your shins, hips draw back, crown of head pulls forward, exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, breath, sweep the arms all the way up, stand tall, and then exhale, gather your hands through heart center. Interlace your fingers, place your palms on top of your chest, feel into the heartbeat. Take a couple of deep breaths, just closing down your eyes, giving yourself some space to just ground, to maybe remind yourself of your environment, about where you are. And I always find, coming back to that intention of why we started our practice, especially when there's a lot of distractions or things get challenging, it becomes really, really important to just remind ourselves of why we started in the first place. Okay. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, sit back into your chair, flip your palms out like you're pushing something away from you. Straighten out the arms, tuck your chin into your chest. See if you can find length from your hands all the way towards your tailbone. On your next inhale breath, stand up tall, lift your palms to the ceiling, maybe even slight back bend. Exhale, pour over to the right. Take your hands to the right, hips over to the left. Inhale, breath, lift up through center. Exhale to the other side. So hands to the left, hips to the right. Okay, inhale, come all the way back up through center, still facing the top of your mat. Exhale, gently release the grip of your hands, forward fold, let that go. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, tent your fingertips, step your left toes to the back of your mat, drop your left knee down. Always optional, you can take a pillow over or under your left knee to give you a little bit more softness if you find the ground below you kind of hard. And as you inhale, rise, hands over top of your hips. Okay, we're gonna take a little bit of movement. So bend into your elbows, cactusing the arms, and then imagine that you're reaching out to the sides of the room. So you'll begin to straighten out the fingertips and then hinge forward like you're trying to reach for something in front of you. So you're gonna have a long spine. And then as you inhale, bend back into the elbows, cactusing the arms, lift through the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, breath, reach out to the sides of the room, reach forward. Let's take two more. So inhales, it's like you're drawing curtains open, welcoming the morning sun. And then exhale, going to bed, closing those curtains. Okay, let's take one more breath just like that. Open this up, spread fingertips wide. Exhale, reach forward. Inhale, breath, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and down your back. Feel your knuckles pull down towards your left calf. Your sternum beginning to lift up. Inhale to find a little bit more space. And then exhale, gently release your hands down to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes to lift your knee. Step yourself back to a high plank. Lower onto your knees, and then elbow squeezing sides of your rib cage. Lower all the way down to your belly. Walk your hands off of your mat so that your hands are quite a bit wider than shoulder width distance. Your hands might even be wider than your elbows, and elbows point up to the ceiling. On an inhale breath, lift your head and then your heart and then your belly, but your gaze is gonna come up last. As you exhale, roll your left shoulder forward. Look over to the right. Inhale, breath. Press into all 10 fingertips. Palms are lifted. Come up through center. And then exhale, twist the other way. Right shoulder to the ground, right cheek towards the mat. Inhale, breath. Lift up through center. Exhale, roll your left shoulder forward. Feel a softening to the earth. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale to twist. Okay. Inhale, come all the way up through center. 3 gonna be the magic number, so let's take one more to each side. Maybe finding a little bit more space. Creating some strong fingers. You guys are gonna be typing like mad after this. Come all the way up through center and exhale, release down. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Press back to a child's pose. So you'll lift up through tabletop, spread the knees wide, hips back to heels, big toes to touch. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Inhale, breath to tabletop, hands side under your shoulders. Exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Looking forward, step your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, bend into your knees, add one twist to each side, left hand plants. Inhale, straighten out your right leg, right fingertips reach up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, twist the other side. Exhale to fold. Halfway lift and lengthen, flat back, draw your belly button to your spine. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, take your hands through heart center, interlace your fingers, press your palms onto your chest. Take 3 full recovery breaths. As you inhale, feel this slight lift up through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, just feel your feet root into your mat. One more breath, inhale. And exhale. Take your inhale to set up for the next movement. Exhale, sit into your chair, flip your palms, press your hands away from you. Inhale, breath, stand tall, lift your hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, pour over to your right, hips to the left. Inhale, use your obliques to lift up through center. Exhale, pour over to the other side. So the right side of your body begins to contract to draw you up. Exhale, forward fold, gently release the fingertips, swan dive forward. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant your hands, step your right toes back, drop the right knee down. When you're ready, inhale guides you, shoulders over top of your hips. Make sure that you're not just sinking into this front hip. So the legs are really active. You're pushing into that front foot to bring some weight back. Okay, we're gonna take 4 rounds of that breath and movement. Start by cactusing into your arms. You can even draw your elbows back. Just make sure you're not flaring out through the ribs, and notice how that dumps into the low back. You wanna think about pulling your hip bones up towards your bottom 2 ribs. Okay, take an inhale breath, fill up. Exhale, reach out to the sides of the room. Draw your hands forward, gaze comes down. Inhale, gaze can lift as you open up through the heart. Exhale, belly button to spine. Reach arms and extension of your spine. 2 more breaths. This should actually feel like a little bit of work for the shoulders, especially as you take this nice and slow. Okay, last one to reach forward. This time as you inhale, lift your fingertips all the way up. Exhale, release your hands. Take an opposite grip with the fingers. If you're unsure, take the grip that feels awkward, like you're holding a stranger's hand, and then roll your shoulders up and down your back. Squeeze shoulder blades together. As you inhale, feel that pressure into your mat to rise a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, gently release your hands to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Step back, high plank. Lower onto your knees. Lower all the way down to your belly. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. And then press the tops of your feet into your mat and lift your knees. Okay, so listen carefully. Knees are lifted, feet are rooted. So that's gonna activate the quads. Float your hands off of your mat. Squeeze your elbows into the sides of your rib cage. And then as you inhale, gently just begin to draw your elbows back. You're gonna feel your fingertips almost slide, and that's actually gonna give you the lift. So it's more of a lengthening sensation. And then as you exhale, gently release down, knees, chest, forehead to your mat. 2 more just like that. So almost feel like you're gripping with your fingertips, and then elbows are sliding back to lift. Exhale, lower. 1 more time. Inhale, breath. Squeeze into your glutes. Lengthen through the spine, and then lift up. And exhale, release back down. Press into your hands, take your knees wide, hips back to your heels, child's pose. Take a full breath in, and a long exhale, breath out. 1 more time. Inhale, fill all the way up. And exhale, let that go. Lift back up through tabletop, tuck your toes. Hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, breath, float your right heel up to the ceiling. Bend into your right knee, stack into your hips. Notice if you're dropping your left armpit, you begin to lift your left armpit away from the ground. Equal pressure into both hands. Inhale, breath, come up high into the ball of your left foot. Exhale, warrior 1, slightly shorter stance. Right foot plants, maybe even just behind your right hand. Turn your back foot to an angle, and then inhale, breath, lift up. Once again, shoulders stacking over top of hips. Okay, make sure your feet are that hip width distance apart. If they're in line with one another, you're gonna feel like you're walking on a tightrope. Okay, On an inhale breath, reach up, lengthen through your fingertips. As you exhale, sweep your right elbow underneath your left, and then begin to wind the arms out once, twice, maybe 3 times. If that's not available, reach for opposite elbows like we did earlier when you were giving yourself a hug on your back. Okay, and then check in with where your elbows have landed. So think about elbows up to shoulder height. Draw your forearms away from your face. Belly button to spine, and if you want to add in a little back bend, as you inhale, just lift your fingertips up. Draw your shoulders down your back. Press your heels in opposite directions. So left heel drawing to the back of your mat, right heel pressing forward. Inhale, breath, fill up, maybe lift a little higher. Exhale, hold the eagle arms, and then fold into a humble warrior. Okay. Try to draw your forearms down to the ground. Hips are gonna wanna swing out to the right. So see if you can pull your right hip back. And I always like to think of drawing inner thighs towards one another. When your hips are pulling out, inner thighs aren't activated. When inner thighs activate, they're gonna square your hips, okay? So just stay here for one more breath. And then on your next inhale, lift all the way up through center. Exhale, soften the shoulders, hold. Inhale, breath, unwind, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, turn onto your back toes, lift the heel, low runner's lunge. So now all 10 toes are going to face forward. Let's take 3 breaths with movement. So inhale, breath, reach up. Exhale, twist to your right, right arm back, left hand forward. Inhale, sweep down and up. Exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, breath, sweep up through center. Exhale, twist to your right. Okay, this time warrior 2. Sweep down and up through center. Exhale, open up warrior 2. Left foot becomes parallel to the short edge of your mat. Right knee over top of your ankle. And then reach your fingertips as though you could touch the front and back walls of whatever space you're in. Okay, flip your front palm to face up. As you inhale, straighten into your front leg. Reach right fingertips up, left hand back. Make sure there's a soft bend into your front knee. So I know I hyperextend in my knees and just push the joint back, and that's not really good. So try to keep it a little bit more active through the hamstrings. Optional to bind here. You can take your right hand to the base of your skull and bring the gaze up. Left hand might flip palm face out to travel up between the shoulders. You might even have a bind available. If you are working into this bind, a good way to actually work into it is also to take a strap in your right hand and then just walk your left hand up so that you can still play with that opening even if you don't have the space without the strap. All right, if you are in the bind, just take one more breath. And then gently release from your bind, just arms unwind. Bend into your back knee. So your left knee is gonna bend, right leg stays straight. Root and press through that right heel as you turn your right toes up, hands come down, Skandasana. If this isn't okay for your left knee, keep your hips lifted and then left forearm onto your thigh, right foot rooted. Okay, optional to add in a little bit of opening for the heart, left fingertips walk out and right hand reaches up. If you wanna add in half bind or full bind, that's always an option. But wherever you are, just think about opening up across the chest so your right shoulder is rolling open. Okay. Gently, you'll begin to release your right hand down, shifting to a wide-legged forward fold. Press into your hands, pick your hips up, heel toe your right foot and left foot a little bit closer. So wider than hip width distance, maybe about 3 feet wide. You can always look at your flooring tiles. And if they're long and skinny, that's about 6 of them. If they're square, that's about 3 of them. Okay, hopefully that works. You're not on carpet. Okay, walk your hands out in front of you. So still keeping that weight into your heels. You're coming to a wide-legged down dog. Fingertips walk out in front. And then like you did in Melting Heart, think about dropping your heart between your biceps. Let your head hang heavy so that your gaze is all the way back behind you. And take a full breath in. You might even feel a little bit of lift. As you exhale, press into your hands, shift more weight into your heels. So you really want to lengthen out through the spine. Let's take one more breath just like that. Okay. Soft bend into your knees. Walk your hands back in towards your body. Turn and pivot all 10 toes towards the top of your mat. So first take a halfway lift and then you'll pivot. And now if your feet are a little bit wide, you can always slide your back heel up. Pyramid, lengthen through the spine. Reach the crown of your head forward, squaring your hips to the front again, squeeze inner thighs. Adding in a twist, walk your left hand about a foot forward towards the top left corner of your mat, and then string your right hand to your low back or right fingertips reach all the way up. Should get a nice juicy opening through the back and side of the right hip. And then as you exhale, gently release your right hand back down. Bend into both knees and step to a fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, breath, sweep the arms all the way up. And then exhale, hands through heart center. Interlace your palms in your chest. 3 full breaths. So just taking this time to rest, to catch your breath, to just bring a little bit more presence to your practice. Inhale to fill up. Exhale, sit your hips back, press through your palms, lengthen the spine. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, pour over to the right. Inhale, lift up through center, contract through the left side of the body. Exhale, over to the left. Lengthen through the right side. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, pour forward, let that go. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. Lower from toes or from knees, all the way down to your belly. Untuck your toes. Zip your toes up like a little tail, squeezing inner thighs. Take your hands behind your back. Squeeze your palms towards one another. As you inhale, draw shoulder blades to touch. Begin to rise your upper body, and then you can squeeze into your glutes to play with lifting your heels. Let's hold here for a full breath in. A long breath out. One more inhale. And then exhale, gently release all the way back down. Let your hands come down beside you, palms face up, either cheek to your mat. Take a couple of recovery breaths so you're neutralizing the spine. We have one more shoulder strengthener coming up. So just taking one more breath just to give yourself a soft place to land. Bring your chin towards your mat. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, about hip width distance. You can either press up to your high plank or to modified plank, so yogi's choice. If you're pressing to high plank, lift the knees. Try to lift chest and hips at the same time. Probably did not do a good job of that. Okay. Lower one elbow at a time onto your forearms. So you're in a forearm plank, and then dolphin. As you lift your hips, you walk your feet in, and then you can just play with maybe shifting up onto the balls of your feet, dropping your heels down. You can feel when we're doing that tractioning of the shoulders, often in dolphin, what you're gonna want to do is drop your heart between your biceps. So press into the earth and try to separate the shoulders and lift your heart away from the ground. So you're active through the shoulder joint. Take one more full breath in. And then as you exhale, walk your toes towards the back of your mat. Shoulders over top of your elbows again. Lower onto your knees, and then just slowly lower into a sphinx. So you're gonna open up through your heart, slide shoulders away from your ears. Ooh, got a little spicy. All right, and then walk your elbows out wide and lower down. Hands can cradle your cheek. Take a full breath in, a long breath out. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Press up and back to a child's pose. Take one full breath in your child's pose. And then let's meet to downward facing dog once again. Picking up your hips. 3-legged dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, left toes reach up. Bend into your left knee. Stack into your hips. See if you can even out the shoulders, so drop your left armpit down. Inhale, breath, come up a little bit higher into the ball of your right foot. Exhale, warrior one. Left foot steps towards the top of your mat. Back foot turns out to a comfortable angle. And then as you inhale, root down to rise. Okay. Warrior one, your hips are gonna want to turn out here to the right. So think about squaring your hips to the front, drawing your right hip forward and left hip back. Okay. Active through the feet, feet pulling in opposite directions. Eagle arm to the other side. Left arm sweeps underneath your right, and then you're winding up arms. There is active energy in this pose. So you're not just kind of hanging out here. You're actively drawing forearms away from your face. Shoulders slide down your back, and then if you really want to stretch, think about drawing your shoulder blades together. So shoulder blades drawing together, but then forearms are separating them, and that's what's going to give you that deep stretch through the top of the, oh my goodness, I'm losing words. I'm going to get back to that. All right. If you want to add in a little bit more, you can play with lifting fingertips up towards the ceiling. Traps, upper traps, that's what I was looking for. Inhale, breath will lift up. As you exhale, hinge and fold, humble warrior. Humble warrior is going to be really challenging if your feet weren't wide enough in warrior one, so you could always heel toe your left foot a little bit further. Relaxing to the back of your neck, so you're allowing your gaze to be soft, the back of your neck to be lengthened. On your next inhale, root through the feet, so it's not just momentum, it's actually strength that's guiding you up. Use your exhale to sink a little bit deeper. Okay, this should feel good. Unwind. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, turn onto your back toes, lifting the heels. So now you're in a low runner's lunge, or high runner's lunge. Okay, inhale, breath, reach up. Exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, sweep left fingertips down and up, face the front. Exhale, twist to your right. Okay. One more time to the left, down and up as you inhale. Exhale to twist. This time, warrior two. Sweep down and up as you inhale. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Okay, soften through the shoulders, but then reach through the fingertips. Can you even imagine that someone's placing a weight onto your hands and you're pushing the weight back up so your hands aren't dropping? Okay, flip your front palm to face up. Inhale, reach left fingertips to the ceiling, straighten out your front leg. Optional play with your binds. Left hand to the base of your skull, right hand can wrap towards your left hip, or your right hand is beginning to guide up between your shoulder blades, maybe binding. I always find this side, if you're right-handed, is a little bit trickier because it's actually the right shoulder that has less mobility. I believe it's because we do more work with the right shoulder, so it's a little bit stronger but less mobile. Don't quote me on that though. All right, if you are still in the bind, you can just gently release your arms to the front and back. Bend into your right knee, rooting through your left heel, left toes turn up if you're coming all the way down, or hips are lifted to hip height. Add in a twist if you'd like, so right hand out in front of your right toes or right forearm onto your thigh, so that your left fingertips can lift up. Think about squeezing shoulder blades together so you get a little bit more space across the chest and inner line of the arm. Okay. Gently, you'll release your left hand down. Once again, wide-legged down dog. So lift your hips up, pivot your feet in a little bit closer, but still wider than they would be in down dog, and then take a fold. Okay. From your fold, rooting through your feet, walk your hands forward. So you really want to find that length in your spine. So instead of having your weight into your hands and feet, root through your hands, slide your shoulders down, think about melting your heart. Okay, let's add in a little bit more here. Walk your left hand into the center, look underneath your left armpit towards your left heel, and then right hand will wrap around your left ankle. You can keep the arms straight, or you can bend into your right elbow and draw yourself closer towards your left foot. Explore this for a couple more breaths. And we'll gently release back through center. Switch hands, right hand replaces left. Look underneath your right armpit. Left hand can bind anywhere along your right leg. Allow your body to soften into this, even a soft bend into your knees. And then gently you'll release back through center. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, turn and pivot all 10 toes to the top of your mat. If your stance is really long, just slide your back foot slightly up. Lengthen through the spine. Pyramid with a twist. Right hand walks slightly towards the top right corner of the mat. Squeeze inner thighs to square the hips, and then adding in that twist, left hand to the base of your spine or reaching all the way up. Think about finding a halfway lift with your back. So the crown of your head is ideally in line with your hips. One more inhale, reach a little bit higher. And then exhale, left hand comes down, bend into both knees and step to a fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to full plank, your hands step back, high plank. Lower all the way down, either from toes or knees. Okay, we have one more big back bend that we're coming into. Couple of options, we're gonna go through this twice. Start by bending into your knees, okay, upper body on the ground, and then reach your hands back, palms face in. So you might just stay here. This is a bit of a quad opener, and as you bend your elbows and take your heels in towards your tailbone, you're gonna feel that a little bit more. And if this feels like too much for low back or for your quads, you can either take your baby cobra or locust that we found earlier, any other variation. Okay, you can stay here for the first one, or you can play with bow pose. Begin to kick your feet into your hands, rise your knees off your mat, chest lifts as well. Okay, squeeze into your glutes so you're not just dumping into the low back. Hold for one more breath. And then you're gently gonna release all the way back down without slingshotting the feet. Allow them to just float to your mat. Hands to either side of your hips, palms face up. Take a couple of deep, full belly breaths. Now, if you just feel like you want to lay here for the next round of this, you of course are welcome to. If you want to take another variation of back bend or the same one that you just took, we're going to come into this one more time. Heels come in. Make sure that your knees stay hip width. So a lot of people will want to splay the knees out here. So you want to keep your knees back behind you. Squeeze shoulder blades. Squeeze into your glutes as you activate the back line. You're not going to dump into the low back. Draw your belly button up into your spine, whatever variation you've taken. And then as you exhale, just gently release. Take the opposite cheek to your mat. And a couple of deep breaths. Let's gently begin to make our way onto our back. So just think about a pencil roll. So it doesn't take a whole lot of effort or a whole lot of movement. And then draw your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. Maybe a gentle rock side to side. I'm going to close off with a couple of twists. Okay, so you can just gently release your feet down. Arms come out to a T or cactus shape. Shift your hips up and over to the left. And then just gently drop your knees over to the right. Okay, it can be really nice to take your pillow in between your knees, off to the side. Might just take a couple of deep breaths. Allow your heartbeat to slow down. Allow yourself to feel grounded. If you need longer in this twist, of course, you're welcome to take it. Otherwise, you can just gently lift your knees up through center, planting into your feet. Shift your hips back to the center of your mat. When you're ready, you'll shift your hips up and over to the right, knees in towards your chest, and then slowly drop your knees over to the left. Allow your breath to come to a little bit more depth. Last couple of moments here on your mat. And then on your next inhale, you can just gently lift your knees back up through center. Take any final movements that you're craving, knees to chest, windshield wipering, happy baby. And then we'll meet into Shavasana. And really give yourself this space to land, especially if you're going back into the workday or you just have there's other things that we have to do today, but to not rush into them, to really give yourself space to close off your practice, and in doing so, really honoring your body and everything that it has given you today. The eyes resting heavy, breath nice and long. Took this love and I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can a child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the seasons of my life? So much love. Okay. Always so much gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Namaste.